Hi, this is Derrick.
This is Miles.
And this is
In Session. And welcome back. This is a special episode. Your last episode, actually.
Oh my gosh. We're just going right into it like that?
Best way to do it.
Fair enough. Okay. Yeah, it's my final episode of the In Session podcast, brought to you by the DLASC. Ooh. I don't know what that was.
Fantastic.
Like an ad read or something.
So with it being your last episode, this episode's also about you.
Okay, yeah.
I'm going to give you a little bit of, have you some selfishness on you.
Okay, wow. This is the kindest thing you've done for me. See how you didn't argue with that? Because I'm right.
Of course I'm not going to argue with it, but, I'm a nice person.
Yeah, yeah.
So I guess we'll start with what made you go to college? What did you want to go to college?
So originally when I was getting out of high school, I was like, I'm gonna be a band director because I love music.
Yeah.
And I wanted to teach. So I was like, 2 and 2, let's put it together. We got 4, right? And then I got to LSU and
So you like drumline?
What?
You like drumline?
Oh, I love them. I love drum. Put it on drumline right now, and I'm locked in. Okay, that movie is my jam. Any musical really, but drumline really got me. But yeah, so I got to LSU though, and then I didn't do what I needed to do. I was not a great student, to be honest. I got a little bit of freedom. I was like, man, do I really need to go to class?
So most college students, their freshman year, you got some freedom, and you're like, school what?
School what? Exactly. I was like, I'm on that football field every Saturday. That's all I need to know.
It's Friday. Is it Friday yet?
Right. Okay, who swiped me into the
what party?
The cafeteria,
where the party at? That song was
not
popping.
the party. I was not a party.
That song was popping when you were in college.
Okay, I feel like that was a little bit of a dig, but okay.
Yeah,
it was. No, it was. You're right. Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, I was like, I'm gonna be a band director, and I was like, ooh, I'm not a great student. Maybe this is not for me, because LSU School of Music is very, very, it's very, very good school of music, and they're very serious about what they do, and I was not in that space yet, as a student.
So what'd you do?
So what I do?
What did you do?
I had to go to work. I had to pay bills. What do you mean?
This freedom wasn't cheap?
Freedom is not cheap. No. Oh my God. Freedom is not free.
But eventually you went back. So
I mean,
what? So you got tired of working? You said these dollars ain't making sense.
So while I was working, or at least we've talked about this when I was working at a certain restaurant that I won't name. I was making I was doing fine. I was comfortable. I was for a pretty easy part-time job. I was like, okay, all my bills are paid. I can randomly splurge on myself whenever I need to. I was doing fun stuff. I was going to festivals with my friends and everything like that. And then right before the pandemic, a family friend was like, hey, Derrick, what are you doing with your life? And I was like, I'm vibing.
I'm trying to imagine you. I feel like that would have just spiraled you personally. I'm trying to imagine
a little bit.
Yeah.
In the back of my head, I was like, dang, what have I been doing? It's been 5-6 years. Oh my gosh.
From me knowing you, I'm I can imagine you reacting to that and just completely spiraling for 5 minutes.
Well, the thing is, the whole time I was out of school, I was like, okay, I'm gonna go back to school at some point. I'm gonna do it soon. I'm gonna do it soon. And I kept telling myself that, and then never doing anything about it. And then finally, someone sat me down and was basically what are you doing with your life right now? Go back to school and get that degree. And then to help me even further, she checked on me, make sure I did what I need to do to get back into school as well. Because knowing me, I would procrastinate it, and I would miss that fall semester, or registering for that fall semester. And I would have been okay, I'll wait till later. And I would have kept pushing it back again and again. So yeah, I had to almost literally get a push to get back into school.
I mean, it happens. We all need
Yeah.
like a little something. So, did you change what you went to school for after, in between?
Yeah, so I mean, it's been like I said, like 5, 6 years. I hadn't picked up an instrument in that entire time, or like maybe a couple times just to like do some offhand stuff. Like,
Wait, we just completely bypassed. You were in the LSU band.
yeah.
We just bypassed that, by the way.
Well, I mean,
That's
do you want to
important.
talk about it?
That's important. That's
Okay.
important.
It was fun. It's nice.
That's it.
Oh, do you want? What else do you want to know about it?
Anything.
I mean, there were a lot of very interesting characters that got to interact with, not just in the band, but like outside of the band.
Well, you got to like travel all the games.
Of interesting LSU fans you get to meet because they're like, "Ooh, you're in the band." Ooh, and I'm like, "Yeah, mm-hmm." But yeah, we did get to travel a lot. That was really cool. Like I did like traveling, although we traveled a lot by bus, and I mean, I hate like being in a vehicle for too long. So that was not fun. But like I got to go to like Florida. I got to go to Mississippi for some games. I got to go to Pittsburgh for like the men's basketball tournament one time. That was fun, except that we got eliminated in the first round.
Yeah.
So we were there for like literally 2 days.
Fun little fact for anyone listening. I was actually going to those games. I just didn't. I wasn't friends with Derrick at the time.
Our
So like,
paths
they
didn't really cross, but like they got close.
unironically, just a little sidetrack. We found out multiple times
Oh
in our
my
friendship
God.
that we have a lot of just mutual people that we know,
We do.
and it's so weird. But like, also, I was probably like on. There's a good chance I was on like the same plane as you, going to an LSU game, and I just never knew.
Yeah.
So I guess
mean,
like small world.
small world. It really is. Yeah.
But how would you say like being in the band impacted you your first time around in school?
My first time around, honestly, like being in the band didn't have that big of an impact. It was something that I really liked, so like I really put my time into it and like being good at what I was doing. I mean, which kind of like, I mean, I was a music major, so performing ties into that as be good at my instrument. What I would say, it definitely taught me a lot for when I got back into school, though. And it really helped me realize like how serious I needed to be going back in, because I didn't want to play around again and like end up another however many years out of school with
Right.
no degree still. It also like I don't know, it made me learn like a lesson. Like it's not really the like being in the band so much as like having to leave school. Really it taught me this big lesson. Like I was able to like stop really comparing like where my life was going to other people, like my peers, really, because that was something that really weighed on me. I was like, oh man, all of my friends just graduated, and I'm like, what am I doing?
I think a lot of people feel that because like especially with I mean okay, I'm not saying you're old, but like
You could say I'm old.
Instagram wasn't like what it was what it
Yeah.
is now. So like now if you look in like if you scroll Instagram,
Yeah.
and you see like oh my friend did this, my friend's on a beach vacation,
Yeah.
I'm in school.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people deal with that and like
No, like,
it
one
sends
of
you
my-
in a spiral a little bit.
Yeah, one of my best friends, I mean, like, while I was still in school, had a baby, and I was like, oh my gosh, whole family's being started.
Right, like what am I doing?
I'm in these books.
They over here starting families. I'm over here trying to get this degree.
But, like, I mean, like, I was in school, so I was like, okay, I'm working on myself. Like, everyone's happy for me. Like, that's great. Like, I wasn't like, oh my God, I should be starting a family too. No.
Yeah.
No.
Like
But-
learning that everyone moves at their own pace. I feel is something we struggle with because like just looking is with the impact of social media, we all feel pressure to like rush with everybody else.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely. It's, I'm going to butcher this saying, but it's this saying that I always think about is like, if the car next to you moves ahead of you, it doesn't mean your car isn't moving. Or something along those lines. But basically, like, just because you see other people, like, doing, going somewhere that you want to be doesn't mean that you're not going to get there, too.
Right.
Everyone moves at their own pace. Life happens. Life affects us differently. So
And also don't take social media as like that's what that person's life is like. 'Cause,
Oh,
like,
absolutely not.
no one posts like the bad stuff that's also happening to them on social media.
Yeah.
Like, social media is just a highlight reel. So like,
Again, going back to like, I was out of school for 5 or 6 years, and I was on social media like, I'm having fun.
yeah,
And I mean, in the back of my head, I'm like, dang, I'm not doing what I want to be doing. I'm
Right.
working like a job that like pays my bills, but like it's not fulfilling me in any way. But no one knew that.
yeah, because
I
social
was-
media, you're living it up.
Yeah, I'm not living it up. Look, that
but, like-
makes it sound better than it was. But like, I was.
You had fun.
I had fun, right? And I was comfortable enough, so you know.
Don't look at social media as reality. It's like it's not always the real.
Oh, absolutely not. No,
Yeah.
no.
But speaking of your degree, I know you've told me.
Oh god,
multiple
we're gonna have
times,
this conversation.
and I to this day ask you to repeat it. What is your degree in?
So I have a bachelor's of science in screen arts with a concentration in film history, theory, and criticism.
Which basically means you're using your degree on this podcast.
I am like actually kind of using my degree on this podcast.
Fantastic.
So basically, I have a degree in film, kind of. And part of that, we do like a lot of production stuff, even though my concentration isn't in production. So like, running this whole podcast is something I learned how to do in classes because I did my own podcast project for a class. And I mean, we didn't have a setup like this. I have one mic.
To
It
be
was
fair,
me.
we do have a fairly unique soundboard, but like I like it.
Yeah, I didn't know how this worked when we found it. I had to learn.
But college taught you.
College did teach me, and I had some knowledge already of like what we need to do. So
There
you know, it worked
applying your
out.
college degree.
Yep.
What made you decide to go into film for your degree?
In the film, so like, I have always been a big horror movie person.
True.
Yeah. That is like quite literally the biggest way that I bonded with my dad growing up was we watched horror movies all the time. And so like I love movies. I didn't initially think about like doing like a film degree. So originally when I got to LSU, I wanted to do music. And then when I got back in school, I was like, okay, I'm going to do an English degree because I want to teach. I want to teach English. But then when I finished here at BSCC and I was doing my transfer application to LSU, it gives you an option for like your first choice for a major and a second choice. And I put screen arts as my second choice because I'm like, I don't know if I'm gonna get it, but like it'll be kind of fun. It'll be cool. And then that's what I got because the English department and the screen arts department at LSU are like,
Yeah.
they're tied. They're like besties. There's a lot of crossover. So I was like, ooh, I don't know what I'm about to be doing in this when I first got into it, but
Right.
honestly, like it's been really great, and it's like I've really learned that like I like studying film. I want to keep doing that at some point, even though I have other goals and aspirations, of course. But like studying film is something it's more than just like a hobby or something that I can like reflect on as like a bonding thing. It's like something I can make a career out of, you
Right.
know. So
If you had to let's say you had to do something in film, what would be your choice?
so it would be like writing about film. I want to be specific. Writing about film,
It's like
not
journalism?
writing films. Writing about them. So doing like criticism, reviews, stuff like that.
Okay.
Even like academic studying of film. That's why I chose the concentration I did. Partially because I've always been a big English person. I love reading. I love literature, and like so studying and breaking down literature and analyzing literature has been something I've like always loved to do. And then when I got into this program, I was like, oh, I could do this with film. That's even more fun.
Right.
What? So if I could just like honestly just watch movies and write about movies for the rest of my life, I'd be so happy. It doesn't pay the big bucks, but like that's all I would need.
But I mean, that's enough. If you like it.
No, yeah, absolutely. I think like that's always been my big thing. I'm like, I don't need anything fancy as long as I, am surviving and living like decently. We're good. And if I can have fun on top of that, even better. So
kind of breaking the order of what we usually do, I'll ask you in segments. What's some advice you have for like someone like you?
I thought you were gonna say for my younger stuff. I was like, I'm not prepared for this.
No, times are different back then. That times are way different. They were. But like, what's some advice just from like someone like you who like is going back to school? Since I mean, we have a lot of those who come here on campus. What would you say to them when like they're trying to just figure stuff out a little bit?
It's hard to pick one thing. I would say. Let me do two. I'll do two. First, I would say always remember to like be kind to yourself. And that's just not something. That's not just something that I learned myself. As something I've also like tried to push onto others. Do like while working here, do tutoring.
Right.
A lot of people come in here and they're struggling with if it's not their classes, if they're struggling with stuff in life, blah blah. Like times are tough, right? But I also see a lot of people they don't have like that grace for themselves whenever they're not doing as well as they think they should be doing. And like I said, that's in and outside the classroom. So I'd say like always remember like definitely don't be harder on yourself than you'd be on like other people. Talk to yourself the way you talk to your friends. Like if you or anyone else was like going through the same stuff, I wouldn't. I would give you better advice than I would probably I would have given myself when I started over here.
Right.
But like you gotta be kind to yourself. You're working on bettering yourself, and that's not gonna happen overnight. The second thing I would say is I would say always try to do something that gives you enjoyment and fulfillment. If you're trying to figure out what you want to do, you want to go back to school, but you're not sure what you want to do. Find something that like you enjoy, and it might not be perfectly aligned with your future career, but you'll figure it out along the way. Like I said, like I didn't think I was gonna go into film studies when I first got back at the BRCC. Right, I thought I was gonna go straight into like English education, but I was able to find a major or get not even find. I was able to get into a major that ties a lot of things I like to do into one, and that's something that I can also, I can find a career in.
Right.
So.
So speaking of, you did mention you came here to BRC first.
Yeah.
And then you went to LSU.
Yes.
As suppose your first time around, you just started LSU.
LSU, yeah.
Okay. So did you? I'm guessing you right. Did you? How did you feel about going from BRC to LSU?
It was interesting. So, the reasoning was, like I said, I was getting back to school right before the pandemic started. So, BRC was cheaper. Just to be completely frank, BRC is a lot cheaper than LSU. I mean, it's a lot cheaper than all the four-year universities around. And like, quarantine was about to start, so I was like, okay, I can't be spending like a super huge amount of money on school. So let me just get at least these gen eds done, and then I'll go back to LSU. Also, I mean, I will say, to be honest, like there's a little bit of stigma around going to a community college, especially if you've already been to a four-year university before.
For sure.
It's like, ooh, like
a lot of people see it like a step back.
Right. It seems like a step down or a step back or whatever. But honestly, there are a lot of classes that I took here that I enjoyed more than some classes I took at LSU.
I think so too. Yeah, I could agree with that because like we talked about in our second episode where we were with Axel that the smaller class size really allows you to like appreciate certain aspects of the classroom.
Yeah.
And once you get to those bigger universities, that kind of aspect of it is just kind of gone.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not their fault. They got a ton of students. You can't keep track of everyone. But it's a privilege that's awarded to community colleges like BRCC where we can. My class size is like 30 people, maybe 40.
Right.
But like I can talk to my professor, I can email my professor. Having been here for a while, I'm sure you have to feel the same way where you know certain professors by name.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Honestly, one of my favorite experiences here. I'm gonna give a quick little shout out. Professor Varnado, I took her humanities class. I think it's Hero's Journey, and all of my classes I took here were online. But like, her class was just so much fun because I really felt like I got to know a lot more about her, even though it was like straight up through a computer. I did not meet her until way later.
Right.
And I feel like she like took the time out to really get to know us through our work in the class. Like I got to talk to her about Power Rangers. I love Power Rangers.
That's fair.
We went back and forth about Power Rangers for like a week or something. It was great. So like that personalization, that very almost like, I don't say like family like dynamic, but like very very casual, very friendly dynamic is something I really
Something you
enjoy
just
about
wouldn't
here.
get at a like if you were at LSU, it's not happening.
Yeah, it's not really happening. It depends on your major. So even when I got to LSU, I did have some smaller class sizes, and I did have some professors that really wanted to get to know us a bit better. But it wasn't the same as here.
Right.
Definitely not.
So, where did your like when you took it after you graduated and some of that? Where did you take it after? Because obviously, we'll get to what's happening to you, like where you're going
Where I'm
next.
going
Sorry,
now.
not what's happening to him. Sorry, nothing's happening there. But like where you're going, like your next steps. But like, did you have like what was your plan after graduation?
After graduating from LSU or from here?
Both.
Both. Okay. Well, I mean, when I was getting ready to graduate from here, I'm like, okay, let me go to get my bachelor's. So like,
Okay.
my big focus. There we go. I was struggling with the word for a second. My big focus that last semester was like making sure I got back into a four-year university. So I did my application. I was waiting to hear back from them because LSU takes they take their time with handling stuff like that, and it's only gotten bigger. The bigger class sizes, the school's gotten bigger, so from what I've heard, it's taken even more time with some people lately. So yeah, I was just like, okay, let me pass these classes, let me get back into LSU, let me work on my degree, getting my bachelor's now that I'm about to get my associates. With LSU, so my last semester at LSU was stressful. It was hectic.
I remember you said it was a lot.
It was a lot. And honestly, we got to about like March, April-ish the last semester, and I was like, man, wait, I don't know what I'm doing next.
Yeah.
Because I spent so much time like trying to like just making sure I was keeping up with everything. Because I was like, I'm working 2 jobs. I'm trying to graduate. I'm really stressed out. I'm not like managing my time well. I got to finals week, and at one point I was like, do I need to graduate? Do I really need this degree? I could just push it back.
I do. As someone who was your friend during that time, I do remember you were like actually like I couldn't even hang out with him. Like I real like it's like let's go get lunch or something. Nah, he's got this exam, and he's stressing. I couldn't even. There's more I couldn't even talk to you actually.
No, that's fair. That's fair. I had just like of course, like at that point, like I had a routine for every day. So like, I knew, okay, I come here to the center, I work for however many hours, I go to my other job, I try to fit in homework at some point, I go to sleep, wash, rinse, repeat, right? But yeah, there's a point in time where I'm like, man, okay, something's got to give. I got to cut something out of my schedule because I was not balancing everything right.
Right.
And like luckily, I figured it out. I didn't have to really cut anything too much. Like maybe there's a couple times where like y'all wanted to go to lunch, and I was like,
Oh, yeah,
I
for
don't
sure.
know. I gotta do this.
But like I mean, that's a sacrifice we all make when schoolwork's got something's got to be sacrificed in order for it to happen. So
Yeah, but luckily I didn't make a huge sacrifice. But yeah, I got to like finals week, and I remember telling you I was working on that big paper that I had that I maybe started last minute. And in the middle of it, I was like, what if I just don't finish this?
yeah, I remember you were saying I just do like graduation maybe.
Yeah, I hit a point. I was like, I don't know, and that's kind of like talk myself off the ledge, metaphorically speaking. Oh gosh, that's not a.
I did
not
say
a good turn of
nothing
phrase.
happened to you, so you're good.
Yeah, of course. But of course, I'm stubborn, so I'm like, I'm just gonna push through this. I'm not gonna like it, but I'm gonna push through it.
Right.
And then it worked out.
I think it's important because a lot of students, whenever they're in school, especially high school, going to college, they're like, what do I want to do? And you spend your first couple of years being like, I don't know what major I'm going to declare for.
Yeah.
I don't know what I'm going to do. And so, I mean, I think we all go into, like, I mean, we all kind of want a certain, like, we all know, like, oh, we want to make money, we want to be, like, sustained, we want to be able to, like, not be living on the street.
Yeah, of course.
But like, how do we get there is the important question.
Yeah, and like I said, I hit a point where I was like, oh man, I didn't think about what the next step is. I should have thought about that like months ago. Oh
Right.
no, what am I gonna do now? And I kind of panicked a little bit. I'm not gonna lie. It was like close to graduation. I think I was sitting with Jeremiah. Actually, we were at the library, and he was like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, I'm seeing what schools are still taking applications. I'm gonna I'm gonna work on something else, I guess. So I'm not like doing nothing. And that's how I started my German program. I was like, oh, this school is still taking applications, and this is something I wanted to major in while I was at LSU, but they don't have a major for it. So I was like, thank you, something worked out.
So you started German.
I started a German program. Yes.
Okay. When you started at Oregon, right?
At Oregon State.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Online. Yes. Go Beavers.
Did you finish it? Because I know.
No. It's 2 years, and this is the end of the first year.
Okay.
I'll have to. I don't know if I'll have to. Some things are changing, but probably I'm gonna have to push it back a little bit.
That's fair. So, as I've alluded to, there's a reason you were pushing it back.
Yes.
And there's a reason this is your last episode.
Yes.
You will be moving on, and as I've kind of like said, like completing the cycle. You're kind of, your point of whole going through college is to land that, what I guess you put this as like your dream job.
Yeah.
Thing. So.
Oh yeah, I'll definitely say it's my dream job.
I'll let you introduce like what you're doing.
So I'm gonna be moving to Boston to go teach English.
Right.
Yeah. So it's like you said, it's my dream job. It's what I wanted to do. It's fun. I'm excited.
I love that for you, to be honest. Let you know that's the first time I said that. But no.
Couldn't just let me have the moment.
Nah.
Of course.
But yeah, I mean, so like, how did you get involved? Because you're going through Teach for America, right?
Yeah. So I'm going. So I got into Teach for America, and they're going to be relocating me to Boston. So you're going to ask me how I got into that?
Yeah.
Another shout out. This is an episode full of shout outs, I guess. Shout out to my friend Ashanti, my best friend. We've known each other since middle school. She did Teach for America right out of college. She went to Baylor for her undergrad, and then applied for TFA, got in, and they moved her to Oklahoma to teach. And so, like, I got to, be there for her years of teaching. She's not in this classroom anymore, but it was something that I was like, oh man, I want to do that too at some point. Like, I wanted to get into the classroom. And then when I was having that kind of panic moment where I was like, oh, I don't know what I'm going to do next, like right before graduation, that was the first thing I looked into was TFA, but it was like a little bit too late for them taking applications. So I was like, okay, I have to wait till next year or the next cycle to do that. And so, yeah, so I applied last October.
Yep.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yep.
I'm trying to put like the time.
I was trying to think of it.
Because I actively hung out with him during this time, so like I'm trying to figure out where I was. And I'm trying to put the time together. Like yeah.
Yeah, I was working on my application in October. I interviewed with them in November, and then it was like beginning of December. They were like, "Yeah, we want you," and I was like, "Oh, yay!" Not surprised. Like I'm not big on hyping myself, but like yeah, like I was like, "Oh, yeah, they want me."
I mean, you can hype yourself a little bit.
Yeah. That's just not who I am.
I know, but you deserve it a little bit.
Okay, let's clap it up for me.
There you go.
Okay, not enough claps. I'll add some claps in post.
Yeah, we'll do some claps and stuff. So I remember for Teach America, you were saying like how you you had to like choose which one of the places you'd like to end up. Mm-hmm. Boston was one of them, right?
Yeah, it was like top of my list.
Okay, cool. I remember there was three.
It was three. Okay. So if you remember, I had 2 times where I had to like pick.
That's true. We did.
And the first time it was like Boston. I forgot the second city, and then like I put New Orleans because I was like, okay, just in case I don't get into like my other picks, like New Orleans is close. It's kind of a safer choice. It at least gets me out of Baton Rouge because like I just needed a little bit of a change of pace. Was it Philly? It was Philly. Yeah.
To paint a picture, we were legit. So at this point, we and Derrick had become roommates. So we were literally just on the like couch in the living room, just like trying to.
That was the second time. Actually.
Yeah. And we were just talking about like,
oh yeah,
where would you want to
I
go?
went like down the list, like each place.
And of course, like I knowing Derrick, I had to veto a couple of these places because I'm like, this ain't for you.
Okay, yeah, because I remember I was like, Atlanta would be cool, and you're like,
no.
I mean, Atlanta, like it would be cool to visit.
Yeah,
I guess.
not stay there.
I guess
not
not
for
stay
you.
there or whatever.
Yeah.
Ugh, whatever.
Certain places like give the vibe for some people, you just can't go there. And I knowing you, I was like, Atlanta's just not it.
Well, I remember when we sat down and did this, and I was like, okay, not Mississippi, not Alabama, not Kentucky. Like I was like going through the entire South.
Yeah.
I was like, give me further away than that.
So like, I guess that leads to another point. Like, part of your objective was kind of like to go away.
Yeah, that's something
you do like you are like a traveler. Like you like going outside of you're like leaving the home. Like
yeah, that was something I've like thought about for a long time. Like maybe since like middle schoolish or early in high school, I was like, I kind of want to get out of Louisiana at some point. And now I'm 31 and I'm about to finally leave.
Yeah.
Yay.
I mean, there's a point where you're considering going to Germany at some point, right?
Yeah, that was also one of my
Yeah.
I made a list of things like before graduation where I was like, okay, what can I do? And that's one of them. That's part of why I was going through. I started the German program. I was like, I could also study abroad. Once I finish this German program, I could maybe do a math, or at least spend a semester working on masters over there or something like that. But then I applied for Teach for America, and I was like, oh, this could also be a way to get out and do like exactly what first grade Derrick, kindergarten Derrick wanted to do.
I mean, I think it's pretty cool personally,
Yeah.
just being like, I had a dream and I did it.
What does Ariana Grande say? I want it, I got it. That's
Good job.
seven. Yep.
Good
See,
job.
I'm tapped in, as the kids say.
He's still 31 and getting it. Yeah. He's with the program.
Right. So yeah,
To be fair, I will say this: you don't always act 31.
No, I love. Okay.
Young spirit.
That's a positive way of putting it. I'm chronically online.
That's true.
Okay. I'll just say it. I'm on Twitter too much. I was on TikTok
If this man
too
tells me
much.
reheating nachos one more time, I'm losing it.
I love that phrase. I'm sorry. It's
Keep
really,
it-
really great. Reheating nachos, it's a fun concept. And it makes sense as a phrase, you know?
So what we're gonna do is in a couple, in the future, we're gonna have you back on the podcast, and we're gonna say
And I'm going to be reheating my nachos. Yeah, exactly. See, you're using
Yeah.
it correctly.
See, he teaches me like some phrases because I'm not as chronically online.
You should know the reheating nachos. It's your generation.
Yeah.
Okay.
No.
Okay. That's fine.
So back on your
Topic.
Yeah, on topic. You are leaving, and so this is your last episode,
I know.
which is sad for
Sad.
some. Not me though.
Okay. Hater. I expect nothing less.
True.
I'm sure.
So has there been anything we don't always discuss what we do at the center all the time.
Yeah.
Because that's kind of like the main attraction. If
Yeah.
you know where we work, we are tutors. Well, he's a tutor. I tutor technologies.
Yeah.
What are like some highlight moments from the center?
Oh. Oh god, working at the center it's been a roller coaster. Like, I mean, in a good way, obviously, or wouldn't have stayed here. One of my biggest highlights, I actually got to talk about this. I had an interview today with a school, and I got to talk about this a little bit. But I love telling the story. My very first
Honestly, this
session,
excites me. This means it's PG, and I'm happy.
Of course, I would not.
No, but that means we have a PG, we have because I don't know. 'Cause
Okay.
Off here we're adults.
Yeah, I mean, we have rapport, but of course I wouldn't do this for a podcast. Come on.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Great.
so well, I love telling the story, but my very first tutoring session, I remember I was by myself, and this girl came in, and I already been warned she had a session with someone else and didn't go great, and there's a little drama with that. So I was like, okay, let me just make the best impression that I can. So I walk up and I'm like, hi, I'm Derrick. What can I help you with today? And the girl looked at me and went, I think I'm just gonna drop out.
that would throw me a little bit. I'm not gonna lie.
It definitely threw me. I was like, okay, I remember I like stammered. Like I did not know what to say, so I was like, okay, let's try to help you not do that.
Yeah.
And I think like I ended up having like it was like a 2.5 hour session, and maybe the first hour was just talking to her about like what was going on, her problems, and then we end up getting into like me helping her with English. But like that was my very first session at
To
the
be
center.
fair, if that was my position, I'd have the same reaction. But like, as we worked here more often, even me as a technology tutor, we definitely see our fair share of people who like come in and are like, I think I'm just gonna drop the class. So yeah, it's more common than like
Yeah. Oh
than I
yeah.
would have
Absolutely.
thought.
It's. I mean, dropping in class is more common, but I've yet to hear a student walk in and say, hey, I'm dropping out of school.
Yeah.
Thank goodness. But that's. I mean, I won't say like it's a highlight. I hope that girl did not drop out.
But like
her
the
school.
conversation though, like
But like yeah, that experience and like
yeah.
getting to like. I mean, it really taught me a lot. Like part of why I got to use it for my interview today is we were talking about educational equity. Ooh, big term.
Using that college degree.
Yeah, using that. But we're talking about educational equity, and I was, basically just talking about like how, that really means providing support to each student that's tailored to each student and their circumstances, and so like, how do I build skills that work towards that? You know, that session, that very first session, helped me start building those skills, like, approaching with kindness and patience first, trying to be understanding, validating, the student's feelings, trying to find as many alternative solutions as you can, so that that the big like okay dropping out like that's dead last.
Right.
That's only like if necessary. Yeah, so like I got to start like working on that kind of stuff because of that really awkward first session. So that's definitely a highlight for me, because I think it made me like the tutor that I am now, and it's definitely something I'm going to carry into becoming the teacher that I want to be.
Yeah, like I'm sure you'll apply many things you learned here and when you decide to be a teacher, which is crazy to think you'll be a teacher. Not that you can't do it. I don't.
No.
I know you'll be great.
I absolutely agree with you.
Yeah.
Every so often, I'm like, they want me in
Right.
charge of a room of kids.
Sometimes I gotta process that. But like after I process that, I'd be like, you know what, you got it.
Right. Sometimes I'm like, man, I'm not taking care of myself. So I'm like, what do you mean being responsible for children?
Yeah.
And then, like someone else's children? Oh my God, they're
Are
gonna.
you gonna tell your students you have a podcast? You had a podcast?
You know what? There's good educational stuff behind
Right.
the podcast. Sure. If we had a different kind of podcast,
That's true. Yeah. If
I'd have to
we
think
had like
about
a
it.
more like
if we
another-
talk the way that we talk outside of here.
Yeah. But this one works.
Yeah, this one works.
Yeah. Okay. So you should let your students know.
Will I give them a link to it? No.
Wait, why not?
I don't know. They'll have to find it themselves.
I'll send a link. It's all good.
Oh, no, you won't. Jesus Christ.
This is educational content,
Yeah. It's mostly.
and we'll be all right.
You called me a gaslighter last episode.
Facts hurt sometimes.
Okay. And it did. And it did.
Okay. So, last but actually least, it's the
Okay.
final bell.
Oh, yeah.
It's your.
Not me forgetting that.
It's your.
and it was,
This is the segment you added.
it was
to the
my
podcast.
idea.
Yeah, this is your thing.
Dang, I need to find that bell sound then. I have to add it.
I believe in you.
It's on a flash drive somewhere.
So, with this being your final bell, what is some advice you would give to a younger you?
Oh, my God.
All the way,
I should have been prepared for this.
I know it was a long time ago, but like,
No, I mean, I should have been prepared to answer this question because I literally knew you were going to ask me this earlier.
I know it's a long time ago.
Oh gosh, a piece of advice I'd give to younger me. I feel like off the top of my head, like I'd probably say something like, "Oh, be more serious about school, blah blah blah." But like, I don't know if I would want to change that part. Which sounds crazy. Like, why would I not want to?
Because you had to go through it to be
right.
to be
Like,
more
why
serious. Yeah, I feel you.
why wouldn't I want to like go through it the first time and get my degree the first time and like be at a way different part of my life like than I am now. But like honestly, like I think it really like changed me a lot as a person, and like I think the things that I had to learn from not being in school um, are things that like I needed to just learn in general. I mean, I had to grow up,
Yeah.
and I don't think that would have happened, at least not in the same way, if I wouldn't have taken time away from school. So, what advice I would actually give to myself? Oof. I'd probably say I probably would have told myself to like put more effort into like going back to school earlier, maybe.
Oh.
I think I would tell myself to apply myself more,
Right.
and not just be comfortable, to push myself out of my comfort zone and like try to do what I wanted to do. I think that's what kept me out of school for so long. I was just like, oh yeah, I'm fine. Like even though I knew I wasn't, I was just like, yeah, I'm paying my bills. I have food in my fridge. Get to go on vacation with my friends. What more do I need?
Not to be like satisfied. You know?
Definitely not to be satisfied. I definitely was like, too satisfied with where I was in life.
Right.
I mean, like if I would have gone to school earlier, I wouldn't have met anyone here. So like, oh, that would have sucked. But I definitely needed a push, and I feel like I should been able to give myself that push. So, yeah.
I think that's important, especially since you definitely have like a non-traditional path
Yeah.
towards education, and I think that experience will help you when you go on to be a teacher.
Yeah.
I think you have a lot of knowledge to pass on to kids, so that maybe they don't have to take the gap.
Yeah.
Even though, I mean, you clearly learned a lot from taking it, but maybe they won't have to make the same mistakes that
Yeah.
you had to make.
Or at the very least, I won't say like to prevent them from having to take that gap, because sometimes that gap is necessary. I think that we talk about this sometimes. Like a lot of kids end up in school. You mentioned earlier they don't know what they want to do.
Right.
And I think instead of kind of wasting your own time, sometimes you need to figure out what it is that you want to do for real.
For sure. I think like being more intentional with
Yeah.
like especially like maybe being more intentional with that gap. Like
Yeah.
I'm gonna take that gap year, but I'm also gonna maybe.
I'm gonna figure some stuff out about myself.
Yeah, I'm gonna figure out what I want to work. Maybe I want to take a couple.
Yeah,
internships.
maybe I'll do an internship. Maybe I'll look into a certain career field that I thought about however long ago, whatever that looks like.
Not be a SoundCloud rapper.
Yeah, no. I was going to say, if you tell me to give advice to like a group of students or like younger people, don't pick up a microphone, a podcast mic. Don't pick up.
We did this on our
SoundCloud equipment.
We did this on our job.
Yeah.
Like this is a project that we did. So don't just go pick up a podcast mic.
We're not talking about would you take $500K or dinner with Jay-Z. Like this is not that type of discussion.
But I genuinely think you'll have with your journey. I think you'll have a lot of information to offer to students.
Yeah.
And just for y'all listening, this is like the most positive I've been to Derrick in ever.
I was thinking
It's
of
hard
bringing it up
for me.
again.
It's hard. But to wrap it up, it has been good having you on this podcast. This podcast will be different without you.
Yeah.
We'll miss your presence a little bit.
I'll miss it.
As a coworker, you've been all right.
Okay. We are doing good.
Just let you know. As a friend, needs improvement.
Okay.
I'm just giving you evaluation. But overall, I think 4 out of 10.
That is wild. That's wild.
You know what?
But I can't be mad.
I'll be generous. 5 out of 10.
Okay, that's the highest we're going. So I'm not even gonna push you further than that. No, it's been fun. It's been great. I feel like I'm not really like mentally prepared to like not be here. Honestly, like I mean like not just like of course, not just like here in the center, working in the center on campus, but like, you know, here in Louisiana, like.
I mean, that's so true because like legitimate. So for people not like who are listening, we started the center restarted the DLASC 2 years ago. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, this year will be 3.
No, we had. Technically, this will be the start of the 3rd year.
Oh yeah, so we're still like we're in our 3rd year now.
Yeah.
So like, I met Derrick when I was coming into the center, and like he was one of the first tutors that we brought in here. I was one of the first DLTs. Funny enough, people actually like got us confused because they thought we looked alike.
That's how we started.
I don't see it personally, but like.
That's how this friendship started. Us not understanding why people confused us.
For real, actually, that like we weren't like we didn't talk to each other. People just got us confused.
I didn't know, but
I am taller than
what?
you.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like we don't even look like, you know. You're a little lighter.
A little bit, but like
yeah. You're taller. I don't know.
I to this day think it's because we were sitting down a lot and people were just like, Derrick.
Even sitting down, you're taller. Like you're.
That's true,
yeah,
but
I don't know. But yeah, no, I'm gonna miss this. I'm gonna miss everyone. Yeah, I'm gonna miss every. I have to cut that out now. Let me start that one over. I'm gonna miss everyone, and I'm gonna miss this place and this campus, and it's been fun. It's been fun. I could say that at least. This center's been through a lot. I've seen it through 3 directors now over 4 years.
Also, this does mean that with you gone, I am the last person standing from the original like crew we had.
Oh my god!
It's true.
Yeah, because it was what me, you,
Lutfi, Abby,
Jeremiah, Rosa. Oh wow! Dang, last one standing.
For real.
Okay. Good luck.
Bittersweet. So.
Yeah. I don't know what else to say.
Yeah, that's kind of him.
I don't know, whatever.
Good riddance, I guess.
I guess I'll say for the last time, I'm signing off. This has been In Session with Miles and Derrick.
Indeed. Goodbye. Thank you for giving our podcast a listen. We're excited to bring you more content.
You can check us out on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Google Play. Thanks again.
This has been In Session with Miles and Derrick.